might remember that on this site 2 years ago I dug out with some friends some Bramley trees which were just not working out for reasons I've written about elsewhere, and planted some pears instead. So these were very young pear trees, and they were planted the winter before last winter, and they've really done quite well. These branches are going quite upright, but next year they're going to get some fruit on them, I hope, because they've matured lots of fruit buds, even on this current year's wood, and there's a load of really good fruit systems. You see there's a fruit spur there, there's a fruit spur there. So what's going to happen next year, these are very upright branches, they should hopefully get some fruit on them. The weight of the fruit will pull them down and set them in a more suitable position, so that's how they're going to become, you can see, sort of pyramids. And I do advise that in the first and probably the second year of planting a new tree, it's a good thing to take all the fruit off to allow the tree to put its energy into growth. But we did overlook a few pears, and here's a conference pear, just to show you that you can get fruit in the second year after planting a tree. And I cut loads and loads and loads of fruit buds off. We could have carried a reasonably good crop. If you're absolutely determined to get fruit in the second year, I really cannot recommend you try and do it in the first year. Then if you support the tree, you put a big stake up and hold the fruit up, hold the branches up, and irrigate it, then you maybe can do it. But there's a couple of these, we've got just a few on. Next year we're hoping to get a reasonably decent amount. So just to make the point that you know, unless you are actually, and I'm not joking about this, unless you are actually terminally ill, it is always worth planting an apple or a pear tree, because you can very realistically hope for some fruit within 3 years. In some cases you can get a taste of fruit the second year after planting, so you don't have to wait for a decade or anything like it. And I sincerely hope that next year I'll be able to show you, God willing, a really good crop of pears, such as this conference pear. Conference pear, I should say, is the most widely planted pear in Britain, and rightly so, because the flavour is good. It's not absolutely top-notch, the flavour is good. I can see another one now. But it's a very reliable pear. It will manage in conditions which are not perfect. Pears really are more of a fruit for warmer countries. There's another, I think that's probably a conference. I've also planted some Doyen du Comice, Burr Hardy, and a new variety called Concord, as well as two rare varieties. So again, 2 years ago this land was choked up with some Bramleys that were growing much too vigorously, that were not producing very good fruit, were not making profit for us, and they didn't have any rarity or heirloom value either. Our customers were asking us for pears, so with some considerable effort we dug up and got rid of all the Bramleys, and we planted 32 pear trees here. There's just a little token crop on them this year, but next year, which will be the third year after we got rid of the unsuccessful Bramleys, we should, we hope, have a very decent crop of pears. So, you know, if you've got some trees that really aren't working out for you, I mean, there are ways, I mean, I've said a lot about grafting over. Of course, you can't graft pears over to apples or vice versa. You can graft a pear over to a better pear, or an apple over to a better apple. In this case, there was no alternative but to dig the trees up and get rid of them. There was no alternative to doing that, but if that's the right thing to do, steel yourself, get ahead and do it, and 3 or 4 years later you will be grateful that you did the right thing.